Can you guys see that screen? I can't see everyone else, so I'm just going to assume you can. Um, and I reckon we can probably get pretty close to making a start. So I'm Shane Goonaratnam. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I appreciate everyone for turning up. I know it's lunchtime and there's never really a great time to do webinars and whatnot. I've always been a fan of the lunchtime one because it happens in your workday. You can have your lunch, you can pick something up out of it, and you don't have to be up till 8 o'clock at night before you switch off for the end of the day. So today we've got a special guest, Barry Newen, who's the founder of Cliniscribe, who's joining us and will be presenting on his stuff. But before we start, I just thought I'd take you through what the AI landscape really looks like at the moment and how we've gotten to this place where we are today. Barry's going to do his demo, and then we're going to keep this quite interactive. I want people to be able to jump in and just ask questions. The point of doing it live is so we can interact rather than it just be a recorded video for everybody to go through. And look, this is my perspective on AI. I'm not a software engineer like Barry or someone who's super techie, but I'll give you my perspective on where things are at because I think it's valuable coming through the lens of a business owner, a clinician as well, and then looking outwardly as to what the future holds for physiotherapy. But if we rewind, if we go back, I didn't even realize this was I was probably late to this release. It was November 2022, where ChatGPT was first released. And like, if we rewind, like I remember we'd only probably just come out of COVID for the first year and we're getting back on our feet with most things and most practices. A lot of practices were getting quite busy and then we're getting into that labor shortage period. I just had a kid. I was about to sell my practice, so it probably wasn't uh, on my radar. But then by January, Feb, like the users really started to go up. I think I got into Chat GPT in about March, like first week of March 2023, and I think I've been on it every day since then. Not joking, because I've just found this technology so fascinating. But from the stats, they went from 0 to 1 million users in 5 days and to 100 million users in the space of 1 year. So everybody knows this has kind of been a big deal. And this was just the forefront of large language models being introduced to the world and everyone experimenting around with it. Now, what happened through 23? So this is only 2 years ago, was the introduction of software like Google Bard and Meta had their Llama and Anthropic released Cloud or Claude rather, which is a similar type of AI large language model. And we've also seen most tools. So these are three tools I use pretty commonly. Zapier I use a lot just to stitch together marketing and emails and ads and whatnot, as well as Notion, which is like a note-taking app, and Canva. I think Canva is probably the most familiar tool to a lot of people, which has embedded AI within it. And this is kind of like the co-pilot aspect of AI, where this reasoning and whatnot has been taken into the tech sector. And the uptake was obviously fast. Like these companies know if they don't lean into AI, someone else is going to come and take their entire market share within long because they're playing in the digital space. It's a little bit different for us as clinicians and business owners. Like we're still in a very traditional space, so to speak. But this, bearing in mind, is 2 years ago. And if we look at what the top tools were from 2023, this image generation was very new. This was Mid-Journey that came out. I never managed to actually get an image properly made in Mid-Journey. It was a bit of a weird user interface, but I remember using the stuff inside OpenAI's software. But this just absolutely exploded. And by 2024, like large language models were embedded in a lot of things and they were getting better. I think the first gen, if you go back to the first gen of ChatGPT, it was actually pretty crap, but it was mind blowing at the time because this thing was just writing and creating emails and letters and whatnot from scratch or from very little input, and that was quite amazing. I think one of the biggest changes was actually GPT, so OpenAI's release of 4.0, which is it's basically like their core model or the paid version of that software now. So I think it's $20 a month to subscribe to that. So it's about 30 Australian dollars, and you get full access to one of their best large language models in the OpenAI space, but you've got other competitors as well, like you've got Google's Gemini software, which came out, as well as the rise of AI agents, which we'll talk about a little bit more later down the track and what that means. But again, look how many different software and regular use items have, taken on AI and all of its features. And one of the cool things that happened last year was this just got a lot easier. In 2023, you try and upload PDFs into ChatGPT, you need little widgets and whatnot to connect everything up. And I don't reckon it worked that well. Whereas from last year and definitely this year, like a lot of the time I'm using it, I'm inputting large amounts of data. So it might be an entire PDF. So for example, like when the NDIS changes came out, I would take that entire PDF and throw it into a good version of GPT, not the crap version, but the good version where you can upload things and ask it the questions and literally go, where does it say this? Or does it say anything about that? And it will point you directly to the page where that is. So I feel like that's an incredibly useful use case for this technology, but also just voice inputs, image inputs. That's stuff I do on a daily basis now. Like literally, even building out this webinar today, I was voice inputting what the structure I wanted was this morning. So while I was waiting for my coffee, just to get the framework down. So then when I get home, hit my desk, I can just knock it up straight away. And that's where I think AI's been absolutely incredible to enable this shift away from just, a lot of the mundane sort of thinking tasks at times. The trend, and this is where it gets interesting, is the trend in 2025 has been towards this like vertical expansion. So I don't know much about the corporate space for AI, but there's tech like Llama 3 out there. But AI is becoming the user experience layer of a lot of these things. And Barry can probably speak to that in a bit better logic than I can. But it's no longer a productivity like I'm going to do this task and AI is just going to help me expedite it. It's actually shifted into more like a strategic partner, so to speak. And I think anyone who uses like the pro version of GPT, especially, you can see that this thing is capable of giving you proper strategy and frameworks and structure rather than just being essentially like a virtual assistant, so to speak. And that's probably the tipping point where I'm like, this is a really important time for us to consider what the use cases are in the world of private practice, in the world of physio and allied health. And we obviously know like these AI scribes have been around for a little bit of time. And I think there's an absolute use case for that, which is a bit of a no-brainer, just getting rid of clinical note-taking time or making that more efficient. One thing I'm excited about is actually how we can use AI in our sales and marketing aspect. And there's a lot of stuff I can talk about with that, but I don't really want to take up today's session with sales, marketing, etc. That's some stuff we talk about in the people community on a regular basis. But this is something where even like technology like AI receptionists are starting to become, real world implementation things that people have decided to go in with, because the alternative of just going to someone's voicemail is quickly becoming, not an acceptable thing when we have such great technology or potential technological use available in this space. So AI, there's been this philosophical shift where it's no longer like a novel thing. It's not new anymore. It's kind of expected. And I think from an owner's perspective, you're probably going to find your clinicians are the ones who probably push the barriers with the implementation of technology more than your patients, because generally patient population is 40, 50-year-olds coming through. So they're used to the human experience, the traditional model. But it's still a massive benefit if we can get new clients onboarded and facilitated through the clinic faster. We always need to be on top of the ethical, the legal restrictions, what's useful practice, what's going beyond our, the borders of what we should be doing professionally as well. And again, Barry can probably speak to that with regard to health data and the like. And I think the most important thing to recognize is it's not as scary as it sounds. This is still, at the end of the day, there's a human in the loop of every single process we're not about to get rid of all of our reception staff or all of our clinicians and replace them with AI. It's literally just rethinking how we can structure this stuff to get the most out of the technology and to facilitate the easiest life for our therapists, our admin teams, and ourselves as business owners. So I'll share a link with you guys in a sec because I just wanted to mention about the people community because we've got a bit of a sale on at the moment. So it's 25% off, and this is a monthly deep dive with myself and a small group of allied health clinic owners from 2 mil plus right down to sole traders or startups. It's egos checked at the door, and we're just getting together once a month to chat for 90 minutes in small groups, talking through our challenges, how we can help each other. And look, this next 12 months is very much going to be AI focused, AI tools, resources, and how we can get great implementation happening in our practices. So I'll share that resource with you in a tick. But I've said enough. I think everyone's warmed up and ready for listening to this very experienced physio and entrepreneur, Barry, who's been in our field for, I think, 20 years, he told me. We've had a very similar story. We both grew up in a very similar neighbourhood, Mount Waverley, Glen Waverley, in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne. We both worked at Life Care, so we got on like a house on fire when we first met a few months ago. And this is just more a friendship. We've just gone from strength to strength. I've got no what's it called, financial interest in this product. I just think it's actually great. I genuinely think this is the kind of stuff that I would be implementing in my practice right now. And I'm feel very privileged to be able to share an audience with Barry while he's in this place where he's very accessible to many of us. So Barry's the founder of Cliniscribe. He's a practice owner and he's an entrepreneur. And he is going to take you through a bit of a demo as to how Cliniscribe works. So what I'll do, I'll just stop that screen share and switch over to you, Barry. Give me 1 sec. You should be able to take over from here.
Thanks for that kind intro,
No
Shane.
worries, mate. Have you got the host now? That should work for you. Should be a little up.
Yeah, I can share.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, just quickly, before I start, is anyone here using a scribe of some form? You can just jump in. Suzanne, yep. Which I'm guessing either Heidi or patient note. Anyone here? Heidi, yes. Nice. Anyone else using Splos? Yes. And how are you guys all finding it so far? In terms of its accuracy, does it require a lot of editing? Does it require minimal editing? Did you need a lot of customization to it? Breathe, yes. Team loving it, great. Nice. Anyone else want to make a comment before I start? No? Okay, cool. So just a quick intro about where I started with this. We actually begin the journey about 2 months after ChatGPT launched in November 2022. And initially, I actually coded together something that copy and pasted a SOAP note to write care plan reports because I'm one of those bad culprits who didn't do them at all. And my wife was actually getting onto my back about that. She didn't want some kind of Medicare audit on me, and then I had to prove myself. So I actually hacked together myself something to solve that issue at the time. And as a result of that, we actually were finalists in the APA Pitch Fest in 2023. You might have heard of us then. Well, nothing like what we were actually today. In fact, every week, our features have changed. And Cliniscribe now is growing at about 50% month-on-month revenue since January. So it's been absolutely crazy. So we only serve allied health practices, specifically physios in the MSK space. We've had the most traction with that early on, probably because I'm in that area. And in terms of the how we're different, you might ask, is I would say our accuracy is significantly better than our competitors out of the box, and also our Slack community. So we've already got 70 in there. So not every one of our users are in there. It's an optional thing. Are basically all practicing in private practice. And they get unlimited support with me in terms of customization afterwards, etc. And our pricing point is significantly less too, if you want to check that out. But I guess that the whole goal is not that. Whole goal is having a compliant, APRA compliant note that reduces the amount of editing required each time you write a note. So I've been working with specialist physios to actually get this note to a very high standard. It might be beyond in terms of many of how you guys write notes too. But I've been working with those that are clinically excellent just to get that advocacy from them. And I can't officially say who is on board yet. I can say we're formalizing agreements with them to create a clinical advisory board moving forward, particularly because there's two major concerns we have with this type of stuff. One is over-reliance, where I'm already seeing it now in my system, where physios would just submit the note without editing or reflecting on what's going on there because it's that accurate. So there's a pro and negative to that. And secondly, the de-skilling of physios. And I'm already seeing that happening now, where the newer grads in particular shouldn't be using it, in my personal humble opinion, as much as someone who needs it literally to take a note. So we're seeing a shift, as Shane earlier said, in the capability and integration of AI in just normal life. And it's resulting in potentially a risk of our profession in, de-skilling rather than uplifting it. So I would very much caution on how you use this and have a policy around it at your clinic on who should use it, how you should use it, what is your ethics around it, and your code of conduct around that based on your culture and your business goals as well. Does anyone have any questions about what I'm saying there? It's just really important for me to just lay that down first before we got physios, going off and recording full sessions and not thinking really what's happening there and just using it as a note-taking tool. But it will only be an issue when on a reactive measure when someone gets into deep trouble. And then there'll be an APRA case, and then things will just change, and you don't want to be part of that. It is becoming towards that, I have to say. I predict there will be an issue at some point where a physio gets an APRA notification about something, and they find out the AI note is not credible, as in it is not what happened during the consult. So you need to make sure you have what we call note-taking hygiene in place at the start.
Wow, note-taking hygiene.
Yeah, that's my own buzzword. But it's just like washing your hands during COVID, right, JC? So it's just important before you go too deep with these tools, because once you do thousands and thousands of consults, humans just inherently get lazier. It's just the way it is. And the AI models are improving. Well, at least our one is. And you almost kind close to minimal to no editing now. Right. Any questions before I move forward?
That's cool, Barry. I just thought I'd flag it about what you said about new grads. I don't reckon we need to talk about it now, but maybe once you're done with the presentation, I'd love to know what you think about how we should be using tech with our new grads and our young staff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult situation to be in as well, because I'm finding a lot of the new grads now are challenging your view as an owner around using tools like ChatGPT. So it's almost like we need to be symbiotic with these AI tools as we mentor them, rather than being against the AI tool, which can actually, bite you on
Yeah,
the wrong
exactly.
side as well. So it's just a very different generation now. Kind of like when the internet, it's like an AI native
Yeah.
physio you're finding coming out of school. So it's just important to be mindful of the fact that they're highly likely will be using ChatGPT in some form, maybe even illegally or unethically, and you'll probably never know about it. So it's better just to make sure you have something safe for them to use in your clinic, I'd say. All right, so I'm just going to quickly do, who wants to volunteer as a patient here? Can everyone see my screen? Anyone volunteer as a patient? Just a quick acute right neck or something like that. I'll do it within 2 minutes just to show you how this works.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'll do it, Barry.
hi, Sean.
Yeah.
Do you want to put your camera on?
Oh, yep.
So we can do like a telehealth.
Sure. There we go.
Hey, Sean.
Got me sitting in my car at the moment.
Oh, nice. So do you use an AI scribe yourself?
Yeah, we've got the one that's within Prac Suite, so we're using
Oh,
that
yep.
currently,
So
and that's going pretty well.
nice. All right. So this is so I've actually designed this to an allied health workflow, right? So everything here is on one page. You don't have to click anything out of it. The SOAP note here has a default prompt. You can actually create your own prompts and refine it. But ideally, you just start off and try recording your first SOAP note using an initial consult, setting your role as a musculoskeletal physio. I've got psychologists, OTs, EPs, osteos, all sorts of other professions like this now. So it's just important that you click on the role of MSK physio if you're going to do a free trial. And the other part you can do here is you can toggle it to write mode. So if you want to create, copy and paste your SOAP note here, you can do that to produce a report. So the input itself could be audio or text. Does it make sense? And then the output is just text. The outputs are presets here, so you just press one button to push a report. These are just my way of doing things, but there's different ways you can customize it after you get used to using it. You can label your consult here. There's also integration with Clinico Nucal now here. I'm not going to click on that direct because there's privacy issues because that's actually linked to my Clinico. But when you press that diary, click on the diary button, you get a day sheet, and then you just click on the patient of the day, and then that connects you with the client, and then you can start recording the session. You can add additional notes here, so you can use this as like ChatGPT. So if you want to remove some information from the SOAP note, you can just press regenerate there. So it can be used like ChatGPT. I generally use it as an additional private note, like 40-year-old male, might copy and paste my PhysiTrack exercise program in there externally, or like previous consult notes if you want to give the AI further context, if it's a review session. But what we'll try today, Sean, is just an initial consult.
Yep.
It also does NDIS report here, which I don't know how to use because I'm not an NDIS physio, but apparently people are saving a lot of time using this. Okay, so let's do one. I'm just going to record for Sean. All right, Sean, what are you here today for, mate?
Look, I woke up this morning, got this really sore left side of my neck. I just can't turn. I don't know what's happened. I don't know why it's done this. I didn't do anything yesterday, but just woke up really sore this morning with it.
Nice. Is it a dull ache or sharp pain or
Really sharp.
sharp? What would you rate that out of 10, Sean?
Oh, look, it's like an 8 or a 9. It's really, yeah, it's really pretty bad.
Can you do a head check in the car or no?
Yep.
Yep.
No, I can turn to the right really happily, but turning to the left, I'm like, I can barely turn.
Do you get
Not,
any pins and needles or numbness or referred pain
no,
down the arm? Good, nice. Have you had this problem before?
no, never had this before, so I'm a bit scared about it, man. I'm really a bit worried.
What
But
type of work do you do?
I'm a physiotherapist,
Oh, sorry.
interestingly.
So you're not sure what caused it?
No. I didn't do anything that would have caused it. Played basketball last night, but didn't hurt myself.
Oh, nice.
No reason for it to be sore.
Yeah. How long have you been playing basketball, mate?
Oh man, years and years and years.
Is that your favorite sport? Do you have a favorite AFL footy team?
Yeah, the Dockers, mate. I'm hoping they're gonna go a bit further than they did last year.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right. So ideally, what do you want to get out of today's session? Have you been to a physio before?
Yeah. So no. Yeah, I have been to a physio before, but
Yep.
today particularly, I just want to get some movement back in my neck so that I can turn my head around,
Yep.
particularly so I can feel safe when I'm driving my car, so I can check my blind spot and just get rid of some of this pain. This is really really nasty.
No worries, mate. I can definitely help you. Do you have a phobia to needles at all, like dry needling treatment?
No, no, love it.
Oh, nice. All right, so I'm going to get you sitting up and then try doing some active cervical movements on your neck. Try turning left
Yep.
and right for me.
Okay, so turning right.
Oh, that's pretty much full range, I think.
Really good. Turning
Left.
left's like that. It's
Yep.
really sore. That's hurting me right just in here.
So it looks like you're turning left about off of what you can turn right rotation wise, and it's reproducing your symptoms. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Can we do some upper limb tension tests on you? Median
Yep.
radial ulnar nerve does look even on both sides, mate.
Okay. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, fine.
Cool.
No problems. Yep.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So I'm gonna get you lying on your tummy now. I'm gonna have a prod around of your neck. So I'm just gonna feel around that upper traps, levator scapular area. Oh, it feels a bit tense there. Can you feel that, mate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really sore on that left side.
And it's a bit stiff here around the C2, C3 left facet joint area.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the
That's it.
pain.
Oh, that's the spot.
All
That's the
right,
spot.
cool. All right, cool. So what I'm gonna do, sorry about
No, that's all right. That's all right. No, it's good that you can find it, mate. I'm really,
that.
happy that you can find what the problem is.
Yeah, just as a warning, it might already be sore after today, just from moving around and irritation from the tests.
Yep.
But what I propose to do is just some manual therapy and some soft tissue work just around that area.
Yep.
So we'll do some dry needling on your upper traps and levator scap. And then I'm going to do some joint mobilization of that C2, C3 facet joints on the left and see if that improves things. And then I'll give you some stretches for those muscles and some cervical retractions and give you some ergonomic advice. Ideally, I want to see you 2 or 3 sessions this week just to, accelerate the recovery. Are you happy to proceed?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that sounds like a really good plan. I really appreciate your help, Barry.
Thank you. So Prac Suite, how does the note come out, Jill, for something? Is it a custom prompts you can put in there?
Yeah, there is on that one. Yeah. Yeah, so it does have some custom prompts, but we've got it for different types of consultations, but probably not to the level of what you've got there.
Yeah, so you can see that. So it just came up there.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
So I've worked really hard on this with some titled Musk and sports physios to get it as accurate as possible. To the point where I'm concerned that people don't need to edit it. But anyway, can you see that? So it came out, I'd say, pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Um,
I like your additional notes, how it's recorded all that
yeah,
extra stuff as well, which
yeah.
is, the personal interaction. That's excellent.
Yeah, so my favorite bit actually is this part because I sometimes forget,
Yeah.
and also like this bit from an APRA perspective around dynamic consent because they
Yeah.
might go, oh, we try some needles and I'm just too worried about doing it again. So it's
Mm.
important that this is always noted rather than just a once-off thing when they sign a patient registration. And they really like that aspect for it. So, and say if you want to say it's a 40-year-old male, yeah, you can just add it there and then you just press regenerate here and you'll see what happens here.
Okay.
Any questions, anyone? See? And then it comes up in the note. Does it make sense? So you can edit the note and use it like ChatGPT down here too. Is that clear?
Yeah.
That one's saying. Eventually, this actually in about 2 weeks, we're going to have a voice dictation here, and we're going to allow uploading of handwritten notes, reports, and things, imaging, and everything in there too. That's a user request in that section. And secondly, we're going to have long-term memory where it will actually remember your patient. You just select the name of the patient. So
Nice.
so it doesn't repeat the same thing. So if you want to create a patient, if you want to see a social history from that, let's see what it comes up with. You just click one button. Do you see that? It comes up, doctors, blah, blah, blah. If you want an exercise demo, we didn't do any, but what you can do there is it actually grabs all the raw transcript. So based on these instructions, that's a raw transcript. Can you see that with all the ums and ahs? So what basically this section does is it grabs the raw transcript with your instructions and it does whatever you need to it. If you want a detailed SOAP note, you can just click there. I'll just show you how this works. Just take the long version. And just say if you were unhappy with the SOAP note, you can put a neck template in there too. Does it make sense? What I'm saying? So it might not be your favorite prompt. You can have, if like, just say a care plan letter, something I spoke about before. If it's a care plan, you just click one button there and it comes up immediately in 2 seconds. Discharge letters, you can refer for imaging. You click on that button and it creates a summary of that for referral to an MRI bulk billing. So I've got an integration with Ribbon Care, which is a telehealth provider, which means you can skip the GP and pay $150 for any type of MRI that's not satisfy the criteria of a GP. for an MRI, which patients really appreciate that. You can also do a patient summary. If you want to email that to the patient, you can just click here. See that? And you can actually adjust it. This is just my own thing, and don't. I'm not a specialist physio, but this is what I send off to the patients, which they love. You can do a treatment plan here too, and you can customize the treatment plan in the way you want it to. Just make sure. Just see this warning here. Just make sure you ask the patient before you press record. Every session, ideally, not after the first one. Okay. Can you see that? So it comes up with differential. You can call it whatever you want, but it comes up with that, which I often email the patient. You can also check if you want to ask for a Google review. So it can give you an analysis of when you think is appropriate, if they're happy and whatever. And you can program your criteria for that. If you need planning for the next session, you can click there. So what this does is it analyzes your soap notes and the raw transcripts. So it can actually act as a clinical mentor for you and explain to you what you need to reassess, etc. You can also look at whether did I earn their return. So it looks at the non-clinical aspects like the communication. Let's say how we went there. So that's it rated me. So this is my own scoring system, but it rated me 77%. And it also gives me tips on what I should stop doing, start doing, continue doing. If you want to do a clinical brainstorm, if you're stuck, I sometimes do this after really difficult patients where I stop the recording and I click on needed second brain. And it'll come up basically with a differential diagnosis suggestion. And you can actually program it with your own knowledge base and wherever you feel is best for that. So this is, again, none of this is fixated. You need to simply think of it as an AI engine with an audio, text input, and text output. Can you see that? It comes up with questions I should ask in the subjective that we missed. Most likely the issue, the diagnosis, special tests I could do, and just some treatment ideas. And you can summarize multiple soap notes here too by going, if you go to that right section I showed you before, and then if you need to do, treatment plan, you'll be able to do that. What we're adding in is something that automatically populates work cover forms and stuff, which I hate doing. Does everyone hate doing stuff like that? Where they have to fill in these crappy treatment plans and you have to grab out all the outcome measures and stuff. So this will do this in like seconds, the first draft. So we're developing that into this as well. And if you want to create your own prompts, you can do that in here.
Barry, can that format that into the templates that the various organizations use?
Yes, we will.
Sweet.
But the only issue I have with that is we're almost, this is the worst part about it, because we're going to end up taking over a lot of the functionality in your practice management software. So I sort of want to turn that off for those who are using their practice management software to do that. So I need to tread a bit carefully there, not to feel like we're taking over everything. But some people are probably spending more time. I'm finding the physios are spending more time on our software compared to their practice management software, while the admin staff are spending more time on their practice management software doing bookings and billing. That's a funny thing. So where that goes, I'm not sure, but ideally, I just want everything like this to be on one page because it tires me out having lots of windows and stuff. And eventually it'll be like an invisible worker behind the scenes for you. So you can have a look at old clinical notes here if you want to. Do you see there? You can always come back afterwards if you need to think about it to update things. And all the reports are here. And we've got a team collaboration section where you can actually chat to your staff and give feedback on the notes as well, which means you leave that audit trail and that word I was using about note hygiene. You can actually do using that team collaboration approach there. And you can basically edit any prompt. So that's essentially what we do at the moment. Um, any questions?
With the need a second brain
Yeah.
one, you said you can upload some info into its knowledge base, but it's drawing on like it's knowledge across the world. You're looking off across the web for stuff as well, is it?
Yes. It's basically the world's knowledge base. And you
Yep.
can kind of narrow that to an Australian musculoskeletal physio of junior standard. Doesn't make sense. So you can actually prompt it and say, act like a new grad physio, and it will give you mentoring of that level. You can,
Wow.
yeah. You can say, act as a 20-year experienced physio
Yeah.
that is hands-on, heavy, and it will act as that too.
In
Act,
terms of what information that it gives you, or tells you, like, oh, you probably need to look for this along the way. What way does it give you a different output?
if you change the role, you mean?
Yeah.
It'd probably be a lot simpler.
Okay. Yeah.
You can actually dial that up and down, I've realized.
That's
But
really cool.
yeah, and eventually you'll be able to add your own knowledge base and info sheets and stuff that in there. Does make sense? Your own way of, say, like your own philosophy around like an ACL rehab, for example, etc. That's
Yeah.
the goal. So the prompt eventually I will have a knowledge base injection base, layer. So you can make it feel like your clinic. Ideally, I want to get rid of that Cliniscribe logo and it'll just be your practice logo there too. So this is
Yep.
it's going to be a dynamic UI that is around what your workflow is, not Barry's. Does it make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And our AI, I argue, is probably one of the smarter ones out there. You can probably see that just from that demo.
Yeah.
It is very
It's
capable of even doing physics.
it's
And
really
so,
quick too.
thank you.
Yeah. No, very impressive.
Yeah, questions?
Yeah, I
Impressed?
have a
Not so
question.
impressed? Yep, JC?
Yeah, I don't use any AI yet, and I contacted my insurance company about if I was covered for using AI, and that was BMS, and they came back and essentially said we recommend that you just keep writing notes like you currently do, like without AI. So I was just wondering, I'm obviously just being a bit cautious about starting to use AI. I've put in place lots of cybersecurity stuff. I'm a sole trader, I should say.
Yes.
So I wondered what your thoughts were about this, insurance
Yep.
space AI.
Yep. Um, I That's a great question. It's all on you, as in you need to see this as like a dictator tool. And if you don't edit it, like many of the people on my system don't, unfortunately, that's your own risk there, JC. Doesn't make sense. But if you sit there and actively edit your note and make sure it's the way you would write it, then it will save you a lot of time and it will reduce your risk completely. But you need to get into that habit of reviewing your note carefully and spending that extra moment to have a look if it's 100% accurate and the way you would write it, then you won't have an insurance issue because it's essentially your written note. It's just like dictating into, like a phone or something like that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, I get it. So essentially, because I work in neuro,
Yep.
um, so and I understand that this is obviously targeted at musc physios, but because I am looking into starting AI stuff, I thought I'd look. So, is Cliniscribe sort of set up for
Yes,
neurological conditions as well?
it is, but it's not as accurate. I just need to work with you in refining the prompts to make sure
Yeah.
it's super accurate for you. Am I making sense? The reason why this thing works so well, I feel, in MSK is because I'm an MSK physio.
And also, it's big data, isn't it? Like the more data, the
Oh,
bigger.
there's heaps of data. Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
I
And
get.
there's a lot of internet data. Yes,
Yeah,
correct. Yeah, there's a lot of internet data on Musk, but I would feel with Neuro, which I think I have a few on there, probably needs a bit of work on, that knowledge injection side, just to make sure it writes it in the way
because
you need.
I use Clinico, and
Yeah.
I spoke to the guy. I don't remember anyone's name, but the guy who does Clinico, and he was like, they don't currently have AI, but obviously you can, trial other AIs, like I think you said you're connected and
Yeah.
notes and ID. But he was sort of saying, that like kind of what you've already said about that hallucination thing that happens in AI and stuff. He's like, they don't directly have it partly because of those difficulties. And I guess what you're saying is if you go, and I obviously would always read my notes and, spend hours doing notes in neuro. Yeah, so it comes back to what you're saying, that really the engine is as good as you checking it, because the risk, well, one is cybersecurity, like you want to make sure that you're secure from that public medical record type thing, not private record, and then checking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just checking, and the amount you check is up to you, not up to me. Does it make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, you're responsible for your own thing.
Yeah. And the other thing is you don't even have to, link a client to the note in here. Does it make sense?
Right.
You don't. So that the security, you could just delete it right after the session and just literally use it as a dictation tool.
Okay.
Am I making sense what I'm saying there? So you can remove all those risks, but how you use it is up to you. I'm just providing the shovel, right? You guys do whatever you want with the shovel. How you use it is up to you, not up to me. And if you want it to send it to Clinico, you just press that button and link it to the patient. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Which,
And pretty good shovel for musculoskeletal conditions.
I think it is good for neuro too, actually.
Okay. All right.
I'll back up that claim if you want to try it.
All right.
But it's just because I'm not that experienced in neuro, and my prompt for MSK has been refined about 100,000 times, right? From 100 MSK, not 100,000,
Yeah.
like hundreds of times.
Yeah.
To get it just right, to the point where I'd probably argue you need minimal to no editing in most cases.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. But to get to that point, I think with a neural note, it might be 80% there. Does make sense?
Yeah.
So you just need to work on it a bit further. Yeah.
Would you know how many neuro people use your Cliniscribe?
I don't, but I can check.
That would be interesting, because obviously that refines your tool, doesn't it? Thank you. Amazing. Looks amazing.
Thanks for the feedback. Does anyone else have any questions there?
I was just going to say on the insurance stuff, like Barry and I had a chat about this with clinical notes, because there's never been an opportunity to do like raw transcription before. And before an AI dictation software, it would have been a bit weird to be like, I'm just going to audio record the entire session. But realistically, if something went to court and there is data available, such as an audio transcription, that is also very much admissible as evidence for your insurance company if someone were to say that you didn't warn them about this procedure or whatnot. I can't see a reason why, if you had an audio file which literally has you saying those words alongside your clinical notes or something, that would be a problem. I think that's kind of just flipping that insurance argument on its head of like, don't do AI notes. I'm like, well, actually the safest thing to probably do is to have raw transcription if you're doing everything by the book, because it's going to capture everything that's happened over the course of that session.
And so just to, I've just popped in my head, is it recommended or is it stated that you need to seek consent to audio record? So you would have to do that at the start of each session?
Yeah, before pressing record, not after.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of almost, yeah. So, right. Okay. That's kind of complicated in a way, isn't it? Because then you've pressed record, but there's no proof except if you're writing down that they've agreed. Like the opposite of what you want.
Oh, no. But what you can do is you can ask them verbal consent and then you can say it in the
all right.
note. Does it make sense?
Yes.
But I would highly recommend that you ask about that consent after every session.
Yes. Okay.
You know what I mean? Even if it's just professionalism.
Yeah. And would you have many people say no?
Only had one who was an anti-vaxxer type.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
You know the 4G.
Yeah, I got it. No,
concept.
conspiracy theorist. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. But apart from that, once they see the value in the fact that you can send them a patient summary and that you've got better eye contact in the consult, they love it. The other tip I'd recommend is don't record the full session. Just quickly do all your stuff first and then stop it, and then have your chit chat and yarn socially with the client after you stop it.
Okay, great.
Is that clear what I'm saying? You go, hey, I'm just going to use this to help me take notes, to write your patient summary. But what I'll do is I'll stop it once I start treatment or whatever.
Yeah.
You just stop it. Does that make sense? And then continue having a chat
Great.
about the weekend and stuff. That's what I use. But
Yeah.
how you use it, as I said, is up to you. I'm just providing the shovel.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions there?
I thought the other thing, Barry, like listening to you, obviously you're doing an audio-based consultation with Sean, but that verbalizing what you're doing is obviously very important in order to get the most out of the note-taking software, because you have to tell it literally out loud, I'm on C23, this is painful, for that to be captured.
Yep, you do. I mean, you can actually adjust the prompt there. Yeah, so you can actually grab from the raw transcript, like a layman way of explaining things so that it knows it's a straight leg raise if you want to make it really complex. Actually, it's not that complex because you probably use the same verbal instructions every time you do a straight leg raise to the patient.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Am I making sense? So it's probably, but it just needs further customization to do that. But you sort of get my point. You can make it infer things from the raw transcript that you are doing an active movement test of the lumbar spine.
Yeah, yeah.
For example, by saying, touching your toes or something, whatever. Yeah. Any other questions there? Keen to hear your feedback further, Sean, about how that's different from Practice Suite, just so everyone else is aware.
Yeah.
Not bagging them or anything, but I just want to know.
No, not at all. Not at all.
What is different about this? What is the same? What sucks? What's good?
Yeah, now I'm not the best at the clinical notes aspect of it on Prac Suite. I'm the section of my clinic that I'm in, we've still got cubicles, and I've got a quite loud colleague nearby. So I typically don't use it for the clinical notes. I've been using the AI functionality for letter writing and the other aspect that you've got, but I'm still typing my notes away. But from what I can see of yours, the Cliniscribe looks really fast. It looks probably a bit more specific. Certainly in the domain of the musculoskeletal stuff, it looks really good. I love the second brain. That's really helpful.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on something in that space myself, so that's really good. I've got some things using ChatGPT, but you have to go off to a separate platform, for some clinical diagnostic help. Whereas yours within the consult is outstanding. That's really, really helpful. The speed at which things come up is excellent. So you're certainly not sitting there watching a spinning wheel for 30 seconds while you're waiting for it to come up. Now, not saying that Prac Suite's that slow, but yours is lightning fast. So yeah, no, very, very impressed, Barry. Looks good.
Thanks. And how much is Prac Suite to enable the AI scribe? Do you know?
$49 a month
per user.
Per user.
Okay, so ours is 24.
Okay.
Idea of the price.
And how are your integrations?
So we obviously can't integrate with Prac Suite because it's a competitor. Yeah. But we currently integrate with Nuclear and Clinico. We'll be integrated with Core Plus. Galaxy Pagozo is a new one that physios are using because it's got some exercise group bookings. And what's the one? Mind Body or something like that. I think that one.
Yeah.
But I will slowly integrate with all of them as we get a decent sized number of users. But to be honest with you, it works just as well just by pressing that copy and paste button without the integration.
Yeah.
However, most of our users are Clinico or Nuclear.
Yeah.
I'd say probably Nuclear more than Clinico. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if I was in using Clinico or Nuclear, I'd be lining yours up really quickly, mate. It looks fabulous. So, hey, so just a little bit of an aside for everyone else to think about. Back to your question, Shane, about having to verbalize your objective assessment, which I thought when we were doing it was really weird to start with when you do it with your patients, but actually the patient's really quite enjoy seeing the wheels turning in your head and you describing all the stuff that you're doing. So it actually adds a bit of value and a bit of credibility to all the assessment that you're doing, because you're not just sort of doing this weird, touching here, pushing that, but you're actually describing all the things, which actually it goes into your clinical notes really nicely, but it actually presents you well as a therapist doing your assessment too. So
Yeah, it creates theatre, doesn't it?
totally.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
good.
I've changed the way I practice because of it, and I think patients really appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, oh, hang on, can I have the patient summary afterwards? Does it make sense? Because they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
What's he doing? So yeah, I think it's a way to sell yourself as well, that you're just not, pulling their legs this way and that way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're not just doing some
Yeah,
policy.
it's like
Yeah.
selling your reasoning, as you said, Sean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad thing, but it does, I have to say, take slight adjustment to the way you verbalize
Mm.
things. And if you don't want to do that much, you just quickly do it at the start or dictate, like one-way dictation, and then sort that out. And then just
Yeah.
do what you need to do afterwards, particularly with neuro type of consult. I presume it's like assessment treatment dynamically. But yeah, anyway. Any other questions? Shane, anything else to add there?
I reckon there's only about 5 minutes left. So I wanted to thank you for sharing all that with us, Barry. That was amazing. It's awesome to see that in place. Would you be able to speak to like what you think, by this time next year or something like that, where you reckon this kind of software will be up to?
Yep. Okay. So, just as a note, we specialize in private practice, so we deal with private practice challenges. One of the big ones I find myself at my own clinic, maybe I'm just doing it all wrong, need to change coaching, but intake forms. So repeated questions in the consult is a major issue. So we're actually launching a chatbot in about a month. We've already you can test it out already. It's called Cliniscribe. So what that does is it can take video pictures from your patients before they come in with their care plan, report details. So it would feed through Cliniscribe as a pre-consult summary. And secondly, post-consult, my physios hate doing this, but when patients ghost them and stuff, they need a follow-up. We'll be doing that as well. So an example of that is this can actually capture like a to-do list. So when it realizes you're discharging a patient, maybe you want to do an email or follow up with them in a month's time. And that can be an integrated reminder in Clinico. You can draft an email itself, pretty straightforward. You can even send it in an email or text or whatever. So where we want to go is pre and post consult to optimize your patient experience. Does it make sense? So you don't end up in the consult saying, didn't my GP send you that, care plan that's missing? And afterwards to have a strong post consult engagement process. So it's almost like a virtual hybrid kind of service outside of the clinic. I think that's where we're going to head with this. And I can't see it decreasing the value. I think it will just do all the things that physios don't enjoy doing.
Can I ask, sorry, Barry, it's
Yes.
Daniel, is that similar to kind of like what Pep Talker is from that patient engagement point of view? What you're trying to add to it?
Can you explain Pep Talker? Sorry, I'm just.
Pep Talker, I've just started using it. That's why I'm interested. It's kind of it syncs in with Clinico. It tries to it has different functionalities like patient intake forms, emailing. I swapped over essentially because I was using mail. I wasn't using MailChimp. I was paying for it, not using it, but also collects like NPS scores and has all these different activation campaigns setting out, to patients who haven't come for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months follow-up. But it's all integrated with Clinico based on their appointment schedule. It's very much like it kind of works in the back end side of things. I've only started using it, but yeah, it sounds like that is quite similar to it as well, which would be great if you could offer both services.
Yeah, that's the idea, Daniel. Yep. The only difference is the scribe itself is the source of truth. So the activations or whatever you're referring to there will be personalized to the patient, which is the key difference.
Yeah, I think that's cool because I remember years ago I wanted to create these sort of workflows and I was like, it's actually impossible to make anything bespoke to patients unless you're going through manually and like categorizing them before they go into these other softwares. Like say this was acute back pain, therefore it goes into the other software and there's like an acute back pain flow, which is probably going to be more like a next day follow-up. How are you feeling? It's normal to be sore the next morning type things, as opposed to a generic, thanks for coming in to see our clinic, give us a 5-star review type type thing.
That's the idea anyway. So having your own knowledge base on how you manage like that acute lower back pain, and then following through that process and allowing the patient to ask questions to the bot, and also triage them if they need to go back in, or you need to give them a call or escalate that to whatever else you need to do.
Awesome.
Without you even having to think about it. So that's kind of my vision within the next 2 years, I'd say. I just need to get this Scribe kind of sorted out for all allied health professions and specialties first, get all the integrations done, and then we can do all the other cool bits afterwards as added value, and hopefully we can keep the subscription prices just as low as what we are now.
Yeah.
As much
Perfect.
as we can, moving forward.
Perfect, mate.
Everything's in one. Yeah.
So if people want to get in contact with you, what's the easiest thing for them to do?
Best thing to do is just sign up for a free trial, and then what you'll do is you get an email from me and just say you're from Shane's group, and I'll look after you.
Nice one. It's cliniscribe.com.au.
But yeah, just as a note, if you're a non-MSK sports type of profession, just probably just need a bit more time in customizing your prompts.
Beautiful, mate. Well, thanks so much for today's session. I hope everyone got a bit out of this. I've really enjoyed it. I love talking to Barry, to be honest. I love getting these insights and seeing what the future might potentially look like for us. Thanks, Chris, for joining us as well. Chris from AIVA, which does AI receptionist, has been in the audience. I invited him across as well because I think that's something we'll probably run out of time for. Anything beyond the Scribe. It just goes to show how much detail actually goes into creating these things and the tools and whatnot. So I'd encourage everyone, look, it's a free trial offer with Barry's stuff. Like, jump into it, see how you go with it, and be in touch with Barry. If you have any questions, or if you want any more bespoke onboarding. And from here, like with the culture of one side of things, I think what I see is just more and more AI stuff coming through. And like I said, with us, with our people community, we chat about a lot of these things, but I feel like over the next 12 months, it's going to be very AI centric because this is a rapid moving space. So it's a real pleasure to have some expertise coming to the table and joining us today. Thanks once again, and I hope everyone has a great rest of the day, lovely weekend, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks for your time.
Cool. Good on you guys. I'll see you later.